Marcus mentioned this, shoving elbows, huge physicality level. And I know that EuroLeague is already a physical league, but when it takes those derby games, this physicality play goes to another level. And I think that this was becoming a little bit worrisome trend for Partizan in a way that Zvezda is just more physical team. They have more players who know how to be physical. And when you look at Partizan, they have PJ Dozier, they have Frank Kaminsky, they have Caboclo, EuroLeague newcomers, that they still need to reach those limits to understand the limits of the physicality. And in those derby games, I think it's very important. And if you look at the history of those 3 games that they already played this year, Partizan won the first game, but if I remember well, they were also down like by 15 or 17, and it was another tough beginning for Partizan. So, I think it will take time for Partizan players to adjust. As Eric mentioned, to change their gear for Adriatic League, which is going to be very important. But it might be not that easy because Zvezda, they have all the experience, they're physical, they know what it takes, they're deep, and we see Partizan always having some injury problems. So that makes us a perfect matchup for the remaining of the Adriatic League season, because as Eric mentioned, it's crazy that just the winners of the Adriatic League will be secured about their place in the EuroLeague next season. And I don't get it a little bit. I was in Belgrade a couple of days ago, and I travel a lot. I traveled around all EuroLeague destinations, and I cannot feel, as a basketball person, I cannot feel more happy than being in such places like Serbia, Greece, or Lithuania, because these people, they understand basketball. On every corner, you're going to have a basketball conversation. Every taxi driver will know what's best for their team. Every waitress in the restaurant knows which player has to suck, in order that his team needs to win his game. So, it's just such a joy to be in those basketball places, because if I go to Barcelona, Berlin, Munich, as soon as you leave the area of the gym, it's over. There's no basketball. Basketball doesn't exist to so many people. So I think that EuroLeague needs those, diehard basketball fan destinations. And if you're not, if you don't trust Serbian teams yet, if you're not sure about their consistency, because they had issues before, just give them a 3-year license. Just give them a 3-year license as a test. If they can prove you wrong, if they can stay consistently, and if that's the case, just give them the 10 A license, to have them in this 13 shareholders list. So it's interesting case that we're having, and as soon as it's not cleared with those licenses, we're going to see a lot of brutal things in Adriatic League derbies, fans throwing stuff at players, which is really bad, which is not going to stop, because this one competition determines if you can feel safe about your EuroLeague future.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I couldn't see EuroLeague without having both Serbian teams there, especially with these past couple years, how the fan support has been and the talent that they've been bringing in, both teams. I mean, I think it's a clear picture that they should have as some type of license at least. I think it does make it the ABA league a little bit better because what's at stake at the end of the year, but I think they both shown that they deserve it.
If they continue with Asvel or Albert Berlin and they don't keep both Serbia teams, I should protest and cancel my EuroLeague subscription because this is disgusting. You're talking about high quality basketball. You're talking about great fan support. These are 2 deserving teams. History, tradition. EuroLeague wants to be a pillar, something that continues to grow. Well, if you do that, you have to keep the competition high, keep the best teams in there, keep the teams with the money in there, keep the teams with the best basketball product. So, people might not like it, but if you're consistently at the bottom, you don't deserve to stay in the EuroLeague. That's the truth. If you're not keeping all the games competitive, you don't deserve it. So, make some changes, EuroLeague. Keep both Serbian teams in there. I've never even played in Serbia, but I just like good basketball and I like to watch. the EuroLeague continue to have competitive games, and I like to see the closeness and all the standings and every game counting and every game mattering. I don't want to have to turn on sometimes to the TV and know that this game's over. And that's how I feel when I see those two other teams, the German team and the French team.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's like no disrespect to those clubs, but they're not bringing much to the EuroLeague. I feel like you know what's going to happen at the end of the year. They're going to get some big wins, of course. They're a high level team, but they're constantly at the bottom every single year.
Marcus,
I think it'd be different.
They have 5 more wins than me or you in the EuroLeague right now. 5 more.
That's the crazy thing about it. It's like you say, I'm watching. If I'm flipping through and I'm watching, and I'm seeing anything Asvel, Berlin, I'm not tuning into those games.
There's no way. There's no way we're watching that.
It's just at the end, you know what you're gonna get out of it. You already know what's gonna happen. But then if you see the score, you're like, oh wow, that was a closer game than I thought. So it's like, okay, good. But I think there's this other teams out there, even in the Euro Cup, that I think that could deserve that.